with, Aeneas is a state-of-the-art AI model for the task of contextualizing ancient inscriptions. So you can think of it as history is like studying history can be thought as a puzzle, if we are to simplify that. And what we did with our prior work, which was Ithaca, is all about predicting the missing fragments of a text and where and when it was written. This we can think of it as like predicting some details of a single piece of the puzzle. But now let's take the most difficult puzzle we've ever solved, multiply the pieces by 1,000, and eliminate 9 out of 10 of them because they are lost in millennia. What we do with Aeneas is not, we don't focus on this three tasks of restoring and attributing an ancient text, but we actually focus on contextualizing it. And that means that we try to find what are the closest missing pieces of the puzzle that we can connect it to. And this is extremely important because it's one of the most fundamental tasks that historians are called to do in order to ground their hypothesis and be able to make accurate predictions. For every inscription we see, there's actually a very large book written behind that. And in order to ground the assumptions in that research, you need this contextual predictions that Aeneas can now provide to historians.
Io me la fai una foto?
The experimental evaluation of an AI model is always a challenge. The reason is that it needs to be well structured and well thought so that we get the optimal outputs. Now, let's take it in two parts. The first one is that we arbitrarily damage fragments of the text that we know that they are there, and then we ask the model to predict it. And similarly, we try to we hide the information of where or when it was written, so that we again let the model predict it. But as I said again, this was part of our previous research. Here we focused more on contextualizing a text, and in order to do that, we unfortunately don't have any ground truth. So we decided to do the largest historian and AI evaluation to date, where we got 23 historian experts in the field, from PhD students to professors, to evaluate them. And what we actually saw was fascinating, because we saw that these historians agreed that the similar texts, which we call parallels, that Aeneas provided them, not only boosted their performance, but they would consider them 9 out of 10 times valid research starting points, and they would improve their confidence of their predictions by 44%. We think that this is a very substantial result for such a time-consuming and extremely complex task.
Qua nel 1300 con Bonifacio VIII, che fece la strada, incorpora il mausoleo con i bastioni del sospetto, poi abbiamo fatto delle analisi comparative dei gaetani che sono nel basso.
We started from ancient Greek, and we continued to Latin, and we showed that it's very easy to adapt the model to a new language, but we can also adapt it to different disciplines of history and fields of study. So we focus on epigraphy, but somebody could very easily use the same model by just replacing the data set for papyrology, for example, that we see lots of efforts going on nowadays.
In modo che anche un più vasto pubblico di fruito di studio che consente di capire di quali materiali si tratti e a quale epoca appartengono. Una parte di questi invece.
Inscriptions are some of the most important, valuable sources of evidence that we have from the ancient world. They're valuable because they are direct sources of evidence. So they were written firsthand by the ancient peoples themselves. And however, these texts can be damaged, their date and place of writing unknown. And so this is what in 2019 we started a project called Pythia to tackle, and that is then developed in the Ithaca project, which Yanis mentioned, which we published in 2022. which was focusing on restoring, dating, and placing ancient Greek inscriptions. And now we have moved to the next grand challenge, which is that of contextualizing ancient Roman inscriptions. It's called Aeneas because it is a reference to Virgil's epic work called the Aeneid. In this work, the Greek hero Aeneas, the Trojan hero Aeneas, travels across the Mediterranean, seeking advice from oracles from across various adventures, and ends up having his successors, found the city of Rome in Italy. For this study, we conducted the largest historian AI evaluation with 23 historians from varying levels of expertise, career advancement, so from PhD students to professors who specialize in the study of inscriptions, use Aeneas to carry out some key epigraphic tasks. And our evaluation showed consistently that when historians are using Aeneas's predictions and parallels, that is when their confidence increases in their epigraphic work, increases to 90%, and the accuracy of their predictions is also increased.
Jelajahi cara baru mendapatkan informasi. Download MetroTV Extend sekarang.